Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenyan Revolutionary. Let's discuss this whole new news that's coming up. Came up yesterday, I believe. The news that ODM has expelled a couple of MPs, most of them from Nyanza and a few from outside of Nyanza. And the funny thing is that out of this expulsion, the few that did not get expelled, for example, Esther Passaris was not expelled because the reason they gave us was that Esther Passaris wrote a letter of apology and paid 250,000 Kenyan shillings, an additional 50,000 Kenyan shillings for supporting the finance bill, which apparently ODM were not supporting. Anyway, let's get to this because there's a lot of discussion about this whole expulsion. And if you want to get to the discussion, please look at, check out the link is in at the chat if you're following me on Facebook. It is, I'm posting it right now, and it is pasted. Oh, wait. Okay, there you go. Yeah, the link is pasted. You can see it right there. See, that's the link. Join in. If you want to join the discussion through StreamYard, join the studio. Talk to me. Talk to me. I know you might be asking yourself, okay, what's going on? There it is. Anyway, the debate seems to be this. Did these guys who were expelled, Jalas being one among them, did they deserve to be expelled from the ODM party? Because some are saying that these are just political witch hunts, where the people who the ODM folks, the upper not upper management, but the folks at the top of the ODM party feel that these guys were disloyal by going and meeting the president at the White House. So they feel that that's disrespect and they expel them. But is that really a reason to expel somebody just because he belongs to one party and he goes to the White House for whatever reason? Okay, of course, not White House, but State House. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm confusing the two. But before I get started, let me go ahead and post this link so you can join the live if you want to. You don't have to. You can just listen to me and enjoy the ride. I'll be here for, I don't know, maybe 15, 20, 30, 1 hour. I won't be long. I'll be going 1 hour max. But again, let's discuss. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my coffee. I'm still sleepy kind of, but let's talk about this. Do you think the MPs, the ODM MPs, were rightfully expelled from their party? Okay. Now, here's a letter that ODM just posted on their Twitter page, X page. They call it X now. Okay. Here's what it reads, and it's dated on the 7th, 2023. Subject: revocation of election of members elected through party list. Honorable members, this is how the letter starts. Today at around midday, I received a letter from, this is County Government of Kisumu, okay? All right. Office of the Speaker, communication to the members of the County Assembly. Okay. All right. So this is a different thing. It's not the one that I thought it was. But let me just read it. Let me make sure. Let me just start again. This is a letter from the County Government of Kisumu, County Assembly of Kisumu, PO Box, whatever, Office of the Speaker. Communication to the members of the County Assembly. So this is a communication to the MCAs. This was posted just 53 minutes ago and is dated today, September 7th, 2023. Subject, as I mentioned, is revocation of election of members elected through party list. Okay, here what it reads. Honorable members, today at around midday, I received a letter from the Orange Democratic Party, ODM, reference ODM 2023-18-00, Dated September 7, 2023. The letter addresses the resolution made by the National Executive Committee to recall the following members of the County Assembly. So I guess this is the MCS from Kisumu who have been recalled, okay, by the National Executive Committee, okay? Raila and his minions at the top. Number 1, Honorable Caroline Opar, okay? 2, Honorable Kennedy Ajwang. 3, Honorable Peter Obaso. 4, Honorable Regina Kizito, all right? And it says, goes ahead and says, I would like to take this opportunity to read out the contents of the letter to you. Read the letter to the members, okay? Here's what the letter says. Again, it goes back down there. As per the letter, I hereby inform you that the mentioned members are suspended from all functions of the assembly with immediate effect. This means that they will no longer participate in any assembly activities until further notice. Okay, and the last paragraph says, I kindly request the clerk of the county assembly to take note of this communication and ensure that necessary administrative actions are taken to enforce the suspension of the aforementioned members. Okay, then again, the last one, I urge all members to adhere to this decision and maintain the integrity and smooth functioning of our assembly during this period. Further instructions and updates will be communicated as necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, and they're called Elana Jack, I think, or Elisha Jack, Speaker of the County Assembly of Kisumu, signed that letter, okay? So basically, the MCS of Kisumu, Mr. Honorable Caroline Opar, Kennedy Ajwang, Peter Obaso, Regina Kizito, have been suspended from the MCA, the members of Kisumu County Assembly position. Okay, so there's a lot going on. ODM is cracking the whip, as they say. But let's go to the original one. It's just a mess. Okay, but anyway, not to deviate from the conversation that I want to have today, that I want us to delve on without going to the specific, the people who have been expelled from ODM. The number one question is this. Number one, what exactly did they do, to be expelled? What was the main reason why they expelled? Okay, because I understand every party has their own its own constitution, and if you violate that constitution, there's protocol, there's instructions on how to expel a member. Okay, so is one of the stipulation is that a member cannot go meet another member of an opposing party. Is that a reason why? Because now I saw Mr. Kabanda, okay? He tweeted something very interesting that he's been going on with Ekuru Okot, okay? They've been going back and forth about this, which is interesting, and that's what I want us to kind of focus on, because I think it serves the people, it kind of helps us understand why this is something very important. All right, let me read you what Kabanda says, because I think this is very important. And also I'll Kabando. All right, Kabando, let's go. Kabando. I can't find Kabando. I can't even find him. I just read it 2 minutes ago. Sorry. All right, let's go Ekuru Okot. Ekuru Okot. Okot, there you go. Will just give me a second. I'm gonna get to Okot here. Okot, Ekuru. Professor Kuru Okot. My goodness, my Twitter is not finding these people, and I just read their tweets 2 minutes ago, because this will help us understand if these expulsion were merited or not. Okay, and I also tweeted to Mr. Kabando and asked him why. Let's see here. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. Let's just give it a second here. Ekuru Okot, what's going on? Why can't I find this stuff when I need it? All right, just give you hope. Ekuru goodness. Kabando, is it Kabando? What's his name? Kabando. Okay, I found Kabando. Here comes Kabando. Okay. Kabando. All right. So 4 hours ago, this is what Kabando wa Kabando. All right. Let me take a sip of my coffee before I go on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. This is what Kabando wa Kabando said about this issue. He said, Constitution of Kenya and enabling legislation on political parties anticipate strong institutional framework within which representation is ring-fenced. While the argument of double standard in ODM may be plausible, this particular decision by the party is within the Constitution of Kenya law. Okay, I'll repeat again. He says this: Constitution of Kenya and enabling legislation on political parties anticipate strong institutional framework within which representation is ring-fenced. While the argument of double standards in ODM may be plausible, this particular decision by the party is within the Constitution of Kenya law. All right. I have a problem with what he's saying, because essentially what he's saying is that the Constitution and the enabling legislation, remember, the legislations that were passed, regarding political parties, okay? This is what Kabando is arguing. That the legislations, remember, let's put this into proper perspective here. Any legislation that is made in the parliament, okay, in the legislative body, any bill that becomes law has to be subservient to the Constitution. Okay, so number one, we have to ask ourselves, what does the Constitution says about elected representatives? Okay, what is their functions? Okay, that is the number one thing that we have to define: the function of the people that we elect to be our representatives, the people that we donate this sovereign power to go represent our interest at the legislative body. All right, that's number one. What is their functions? Okay, so any legislation on political parties, okay, should be subservient to what the Constitution says about the function of these representatives. Okay, so here Mr. Kabando wa Kabando says that, without actually specifying, saying that these laws and the Constitution of Kenya is the institutional framework of that is ring-fenced, basically saying that as per the Constitution and the legislations, okay, that were passed, okay, which, remember, are supposed to be subservient to the Constitution, these are all ring-fenced. Basically, they are limited as to how the representatives that we elect, what they can do. This is what basically he's saying, okay? And he says, while the argument of double standards, because yes, there's talks of double standards, and I'll get to that in a minute, but let's just deal with what Kabando is saying. So he's saying that that these representatives that we elect, their functions are limited based on what the Constitution spells out and the legislations that have been passed through the Parliament, which deals with the functions of the political parties. Okay, let me make it more clear. He is basically saying that if a representative that we elect, we the people, we vote, let's say Jalas, let's use Jalas from Langata, okay? If we vote Jalas as the MP of Langata, okay, we have voted Jalas to go represent our interest at the legislative body, okay? So any law that is to be passed at the legislative body, we expect Jalas to do so in our interest, okay? But Jalas, okay, Jalas belongs to a political party, okay? And so the fact that Jalas belongs to a particular political party, Jalas is limited to us how he can represent us, what he can do and what he can do, he cannot do due to his party affiliation. That's what Kabando is trying to say here. That even though Jalas is the person that we voted in as our representative, okay, as the person that we entrust with our sovereign authority to represent our interests at the legislative body, Jalas cannot fully, or let me use the right word. Jalas is limited as to how he can carry out his duties as our representative because of his affiliation with the political party that he belongs to. So if his political party, ODM, the political party constitution, their constitution say, not the Kenyan constitution, I'm talking about the political party constitution, rules and regulation within this party. If that party says you cannot meet the president under no circumstances, then that means Jalas cannot go meet the president to solicit for any kind of development project in his Langata constituency. That's what Kabando is arguing. But before I give my view, let's see what Ekuru Court is saying about this, because I actually disagree with Kabando, but I will tell you why. All right? Because number one, let me just say, number one, Kabando never specifies what the function of these representatives are, and this is what I asked him in my reply. What are the function of the representatives as per the constitution? What exactly did Jalas do to merit this expulsion from ODM? Okay, that's number two that I asked. All right, and number three, I asked him to define and explain what law, what legislation that adheres to the constitution that makes the function of the last representation ring-fenced, limits what he can do and what he cannot do. Okay, that's what I asked Kabando, but Kabando hasn't replied yet. So I want to find Okuro Court because he replied to this, what Kabando said. But there's something else that Kabando said. Let me just go back to what he says. All right. He says a lot of things here. Okay. All right. Let's read another something that he wrote even earlier. Okay. All right. Let's read about something else that he wrote about there. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. All right. Kabando also said, this is 23 hours earlier, he wrote, expulsion of MPs elected on ODM party for defecting to Ruto's State House, UDA Kenya, is timely and right. If your politics is in conflict with the party that sponsored you, quit to face by-election. To anchor multi-party democracy, political cannibalism and opportunism must end. I'll read it again, okay? I'll read it one more time. This is a previous tweet by Kabando. So we know where he's coming from. I can actually see where he's basing his not analysis, but his view on, okay? This is what Kabando says again, one more time. Expulsion of MPs elected on the ODM party for defecting to Ruto's State House at UDA Kenya is timely and right. If your politics is in conflict with party that sponsored you, quit to face by-election. To anchor multi-party democracy, political cannibalism and opportunism must end. All right, we can have a discussion of this, what it refers to cannibalism, political cannibalism, and opportunism. Okay, but we have to define it first. Before you actually accuse somebody of something, you have to define it. And that's the problem with Kabando. He's not defining these things. He's just writing things. They're more or less assumption, okay, or what he thinks, okay. Again, to read his the one that I actually explained, Constitution of Kenya and enabling legislation on political parties anticipate strong institutional framework within which representation is ring-fenced. While the argument of double standards in ODM may be plausible, the particular decision by the party is within the Constitution of Kenya law. But Mr. Kabando is very cheeky, because I asked him in that tweet and say, what action exactly did these ODM party members, representatives, do to constitute or to violate their party rules or constitution? And in effect, how that kind of qualifies them to be expelled from their own party, is if we are to follow what the Constitution says and what their party constitution also says. How does that qualifies them to be expelled? Okay, but Kabando does not respond. All he says is this stuff is ring fence. That's why I have a problem with people who just throw words, but they don't actually explain. Okay, this is just what I call intellectual hand waving. You just say something so it sounds good, but you don't substantiate what you're saying. Okay, you want to fool people who may not know better than you do, or maybe. Okay, so I'm trying to find a Kuro quote. Then I'll talk to you guys about that. All right, let's find the Kuro quote and see what he says. A Kuro. I don't know why I'm finding it's so hard to find a Kuro. Oh, there you go. I find the Kuro quote. He's on my search whatever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on. Let's read the Kuro quote. And after this, I'll explain exactly what happened and how it relates and why I disagree or agree with this whole expulsion of these whatever. Okay. This is good. I like this. Wasn't all right. Kabando also wrote something earlier. This is on a Kuro quotes page. Kabando wrote, defying ODM party to vote Finance Act 2023 wasn't gross misconduct, he asked. Not a betrayal of the party resolution and a rebuke of public interest. That's a question. As per Constitution of 2010, no government should cherry pick areas to develop or not. Imperial president alienates. It's a question of political hygiene. Okay, so basically he's arguing here, he's saying that, meeting the president, let's say the ODM member meeting the president for development, okay, does not make sense. It's actually a gross misconduct because it violates the ODM principles, whatever rules, whatever the case is, okay? And also he says voting the Finance Act of 2023, goes against the public interest, okay? So also again, he says the government, presidency, the ruling party ruled by the executive, the president, should not alienate areas to develop or not. If there's money that should be, go to the county, it should go to the counties equally to all the counties. It's not like you develop this one place. Let's say you cannot develop Kisumu County and not develop Muranga County. Okay, both of them should be developed equally by giving them equal amount of resources and stuff. Then the governor takes care of that. But that's what Kamado is saying. I agree with him to that extent that the president, okay, we shouldn't have an imperial presidency. I agree with that. The president should not develop one area of the country and ignore the other. That's when we are in agreement. This question of asking whether voting for 2023 is gross misconduct, I don't think so. I don't think it's gross misconduct. Was it against the public interest? Probably, yes. A lot of people didn't want this finance bill 2023, but you can't say it's gross misconduct. Gross misconduct on whose part? On the ODM part? Let me take you back because I want to address this before we even go further. Okay, follow me. This is really interesting. All right. If I am a member of the ODM party, I will use Jalas again. Okay, let me use Esther Passaris. That's a better one because it actually relates with what Kabando said. If Esther Passaris, she actually supported the finance bill 2023, okay? She went and voted for it and went to her constituency and said, this thing is good for you. We should vote for it. We should support it. Now, the argument is this. Here is the argument. Any bill that's brought to the parliament for a vote, a debate and a vote. The Constitution requires that the representative go back to his or her constituency and have a public participation. Article 118 of the Constitution provides that the representative should go back to the people. There should be a public participation. Okay, so Esther Passaris, I assume this is what she did. She might not have done that, but I'm assuming this. Let's say where is she from? Mbakasi, whatever the case is. Let's just use Mbakasi, okay? She goes back to her constituency in Mbakasi and asks the people who voted for her and say, hey, listen, with this finance bill, it will help you, it will have you guys raise taxes so it can help us gain more revenue, that it can develop more roads in Mbakasi. It can build, more buildings where we can do business. It can provide for you. We can build a railway coming through Mbakasi. That way, people from Mbakasi can take a train to downtown CBD and we can conduct our business. Just for an example, okay? Then the people can actually air their view and be based on what the majority of her constituency say. If they tell her, hey, listen, that finance bill is a great idea. Now that you've explained to us, we think it's a great idea. Go ahead and vote for it, okay? Even though Esther Passaris belongs to ODM, if her constituency approves the passing of this finance bill, Esther Passaris should go back to the legislative body, and when that issue arises, she should vote for this finance bill because the people who voted her, who gave her that sovereign authority, have instructed her to vote for this bill. Those people are her boss, not ODM. So in that case, she can go against her party, even though her party may not be happy with her, but she can go against her party and vote for this finance bill. Okay, I'm using that as an example. I'm not just trying to justify why she did this. Okay, I'm just using that as an example. So in that case, even though the party might want to fine her, whatever, and she can argue this in case, in court, okay? If the party wants to expel her because she voted for the finance bill, but her constituency wanted this finance bill, then the party cannot actually say anything, because her number one duty, she's answerable, number one, to the people who voted her. Those are her boss. Those are Esther Passari's boss. Her party comes second. Okay? So she can go against her own party and risk getting reprimanded for that. But she can argue that case in court and say, hey, I'm not going to pay for these court fees that they're trying to fine me, because I went to my constituency and I had public participation. They told me they wanted this finance bill, and I went into the legislative body and I voted for it with a clear conscience, knowing that the people that voted me and gave me the sovereign authority asked me for this finance bill. So I did so according to what my people, the people that voted me in this seat, wanted, okay? So she can argue that, because the Constitution says that she has the authority to represent these people because they voted her, they chose her to do this. So the party cannot reprimand her for what she did. That's what the people wanted, okay? That's why I was very careful to ask Kabando wa Kabando, what exactly did Jalas do? Jalas and Ojienda and the people, all those people who are expelled from ODM. What did they exactly do? Did they go to the podium and say, hey, I am no longer ODM, I am UDA? Meeting the president, who happens to be a member of another political party, meeting him for a reason of development is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not against the law. You know, even if the party member, the head of your party leader says you cannot meet the president, you can still meet the president. You're meeting the president as somebody who represents the people of Langata or Embakasi or whatever the constituency you come from. It is to their interest, in their interest. Okay? Now, if you're meeting the president because you want to become a member of UDA, that's a different case. Okay? So Ekuru Court replies to Kabando Kabando here. Remember when I read about Kabando Kabando? Again, I'll read it again just to remind you. Sorry, I'm being repetitive. Let me read it one more time, then I'll read what Ekuru Court says about what Kabando Kabando says. Okay, so remember, Kabando wa Kabando say this: Constitution of Kenya and enabling legislation on political parties anticipate strong institutional framework within which representation is ring-fenced. While the argument of double standards in ODM may be plausible, the particular decision by the party is within the law. Remember? Okay. So that's when I explained that basically he's saying that these representatives that were voted in by their own people, their constituency, their function, their job of representing their people is limited due to the fact that they belong to a certain party. And that certain party, the rules in which this party govern might limit how they represent their people at the legislative body, which I disagree, because if you read it, what the function of these representatives are, it kind of beats it defeats what Mr. Kabando was saying, is saying, okay? Because he's saying that these laws that were passed in regards to, political parties and the Constitution kind of limits what these representatives, the voted people who are voted by the people, okay, it limits how they represent us. I disagree. I strongly disagree with that. That's why I ask again, Kabando, can you specify that? And he hasn't responded yet. All right, let's read that Dr. Ekuru Okot. He responds to what Kabando is saying here. Ekuru Okot says, I respectfully disagree. They are punished for voting the Finance Act for lobbying the government to develop their constituency and for recognizing the president. Yet, we also know someone is desperate to meet the same president. Double standards. So Ikuru Court is basically saying that these guys are punished because they recognize Ruto as the president of Kenya, which is true. Jalas, when he went and met Ruto at the State House, he basically said that I went to meet the president of Kenya because he's the president of the whole country. And we talked about development in Langata constituency. Okay? While Raila and his minions were busy organizing Mandamano, talking about we don't recognize Ruto. It was just the other day that, anyway, we'll get to the double standards. We'll get to the double standards. So the Kuru Court is right here. It's right to make that. You can make that assumption. Okay? And remember, after Jalas met Ruto, Raila had his rally and called Jalas Malaya, a prostitute, basically. Okay, so he's right to make that assumption. Okay, and also he says that yeah, he basically covered what I say. He basically said that these guys are being punished for voting for the Finance Act and lobbying the government to develop their constituency. Jalas said that. I don't know if Jalas voted for this Finance Act. I don't know. And then also for recognizing the president, Ruto, as the president of Kenya. Okay. And then he says, yet we all know someone is desperate to meet the president. Basically saying that we all know, without naming Raila, Raila is desperate. Actually, Kalonzo Musyoka was at the State House today. Kalonzo Musyoka was at the State House. Why is, well, to be fair, Kalonzo is not a member of ODM. So we cannot say that Kalonzo can be kicked out. He's not the member of ODM, so we cannot, you know, it's not the same. But back to what I was saying. And I will be making another video today because Spice FM, Eric Latif, and what's the Ndu, I think that's her name. They were talking about this and they were giving reasons, looking at both sides. And there's something that they missed, and I want to make a video about that because I think it helps. What I want to say is this. What I want to pound and drill into everyone's head is this, that's watching, is this. Okay? This is what I want to really emphasize. Whatever action is taken by any representative, any elected representative, whether it's senator, governor, MCA, or member of parliament, is this. Your very first responsibility is to do everything to respond, to meet the needs of the people who voted you, the people who gave you that power to represent them. That is your number one responsibility. You are answerable to the people who gave you that authority, sovereign authority, to go represent them at the body that they voted you for. Whether it's your member of the legislative body and the national legislative body, whether you're a governor, whether you're an MCA, your first responsibility is to the people that voted you. Okay? So if you're an MP of Langata, as Jalas is answerable to his constituency, the people of Langata. Number one, that's number one responsibility. Okay? So that's why I use that example of Esther Passaris. And I say, if the people of Embakasi, I'm assuming, I don't know if Embakasi, I don't know, where is, what's her name? Esther Passari. I'm not sure she's from Embakasi, but if she's from Embakasi, okay, and the people of Embakasi wants her to, wants that finance bill, there's no problem. She should not vote against the finance bill if the people of Embakasi want that. She should vote for it because the people of Embakasi want that finance bill, okay? You get the point? So that's what I wanted to emphasize. And that's what I'm saying. And I'll, like I say, I'll make a video to give my 2 cents on the discussion between Eric Latif and Ndu, and I am forming my opinion based on that and what the Constitution says, the functions of these representatives that are voted to by the people who voted for them, okay? If the people of Langata vote you to become an MP, go up there and vote for bills that will come to be a law that will be beneficial to the people of Langata. Don't go there and vote for something that's only going to be beneficial for your party members. Okay? Your responsibility is to the people who chose you to go represent them, not to your party members. And that's how it should be. Okay? Anyways, there was something I wanted to touch on before I finish. I have 20 minutes before I wrap this thing up. Okay? Back to Kabando Wabando. Is it Kabando? Jalas. Okay, so anyway, another news is Jalas has actually announced, if I'm not wrong, that he will be resigning as the member of ODM, and he will go for re-election. Okay, as an independent. I say kudos. But before he resigns, I would ask him not to resign, number one, because he can make a case. And some of these guys, Ojienda, I think, and I don't know if Jalas also, some of them they are planning on moving to the court to, fight this, because they feel that they're not they've not violated any party rules. For those ODM members, okay, ODM people, members of ODM, can you please cite the law, any legislation that has to do with political parties? Okay, can you cite that? And also name what these guys who have been expelled, what have they done to violate that particular law? And also, while you're at it, can you also cite what the Constitution says the function of these representatives are? Whether it's the governor, I know there's no governor among them, but I'm just saying these MCAs and members of parliament or senators of ODM who have been expelled from the party. Please cite what your party constitution says in regards to the action in which you've used to expel these guys. In other words, what did Jalango do that made it that violates the party ODM party's constitution? Number two, what did Jalango do to violate the legislation that Kabando is talking about that merits this action by the ODM heads? Number three, what action did Jalango do that violates what the Constitution of Kenya says about his function as the representative of the people of Langata? Has he violated the Constitution? That's number one. Has he violated the Constitution of ODM rules, laws? And number three, explain in simple terms, what exactly did Jalango do? Is meeting the president or members of the opposing political party a reason to expel somebody from the party? Is that a violation? Let's get to it, because we have to be fair. Now, Esther Passaris, in my view, did something worse than Jalas. Esther Passaris went out there and said, let's vote for this finance bill. This finance bill is good. Went up there and voted for it shamelessly. Okay? Jalas, to my knowledge, I don't know if Jalas opposed or voted for this finance bill. I'm not sure. Okay? But he sure did not advocate for it publicly. Okay? What I'm trying to say is this. The violation, if we are going to call them that, both of them did something similar. Both of them deserve to be expelled. You cannot argue that, oh, Esther Passaris paid $250,000 shillings, more than actually. That's the reason why she was kept there. This actually feeds into this narrative that Raila cannot stand any Luo Nyanza representative that goes against him. That's what it feeds to. It kind of confirms that narrative. Anyone who's seen to be against Raila, who votes against Raila's wants or needs or whatever desires, is considered an enemy. That's what it confirms, basically. I remember this guy came to Spice FM, and I'll play his clip. I'll make another video. I'll make another video and post it. It confirms everything that guy says. The same thing Miguna said, that Raila cannot stand anyone from Nyanza that opposes his views, that does not toe the line as far as Raila's interests. That's the confirmation. We see that. And it's very sad. And this confirms that ODM is a dictatorship. There's no democracy. I will respond to what Ndu said. That was very interesting, but that's for another video. I'm about to wrap up now. I'm about to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get in, there's the link as I wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. As I wrap up, let me just post this real quick before we wrap up. There's the link, ladies and gentlemen, as I wrap up now. Remember, I'll make another video regarding this issue. Okay, if you have something to say, you can comment. Join the live. If you want to debate me, if you think I'm insane, I'm just talking off my head, join in. Tell me why you think Jalas and the rest deserve to be expelled from ODM. And if they do deserve to get expelled from ODM, explain to me why. What did they do exactly? Does meeting the president actually mean they should be expelled? In my humble opinion, I say no. I don't think so. Unless you provide any new evidence that I don't know of. Did Jalas go to UD and say, hey, I'm planning on joining you guys? Please let me know as I wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. If you're watching this video for the first time, look me up. If you don't know where to find me, Kenya Revolutionary. I'm on not Facebook, but I'm on Twitter. Okay, I'm on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, like, share. Tell me what you think. Does Jalas and the gang deserve this treatment? Lastly, let's talk about this before I leave. Will this expulsion of these members of the ODM, especially the ones from Nyanza, will this swing the pendulum against Raila Odinga? Because now ODM is being seen as a place where you have to sing Baba. You remember the days of Nyayo, Kanu, where you have to sing Nyayo in order to get positions or to maintain your position in Kanu. Is ODM the same thing? You have to sing certain song to maintain that position, you know? And let's deal with the double standard. Raila himself is meeting, has met Ruto on several occasions. We remember when it was revealed that he met Ruto secretly twice, okay? Yesterday, he shook hands with Gachagua at the climate, whatever. Kalonzo, you know. Okay, like I say, Kalonzo is not ODM, but Raila himself did the same. You know, what does this mean to ODM? Yes, we can argue. We always say that these political parties, you know, they should be ideally, we should have like a political party with its own philosophy and principles. But we both know that political parties are basically vehicles used to, you know, win elections or whatever. Okay, there's nothing to it. It's an empty vessel. You use it. It's a scam. You start a political party. You get your friends to join in. You get people. You extort people. Have them paying extortionate amount of money to join the party, so they can stand as a, you know, MP or whatever the case, any political whatever. Right? And again, let's face it, in Kenya, all these political parties are more or less, they are regional vehicles, political vehicles. If I mention ODM, the first thing that comes to your mind is Nyanza province. If I mention UDA, the first things that I think about is Rift Valley, the Kalenjins. If I say ODM, I think about Nyanza province, Luos. If I mention Jubilee, the first thing that comes to my mind is Kikuyus in Central Province. If I mention Ford Kenya, the first thing that comes to my mind is Western Lawyers. If I mention Wiper Party, the first things that come to my mind is what? Kambas. Okay? So these political parties we associate them with regional ethnic places, entities. Okay, we don't think about a certain political philosophy when you mention ODM or UDA. Okay, the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio is a coalition of these parties. Okay, they're not really anything. All right, so that's what I mean. And historically, we know that. But this is what I say. Let's use Sakaja for an example. Sakaja is a Kenya Kwanza, right? People vote for Sakaja for different reasons. He is the governor of Nairobi. Some people voted for him because he is Kenya Kwanza or whatever political party he belongs to, right? Some people vote for him because he's a lawyer. Okay? Some people vote for him because he seems like a fair-minded guy. He's really friendly with the ODM part, because Nairobi has always been ODM for the most part. Okay? Some people voted Sakaja because they think that he's somebody that, you know, they can work with. So people vote these representatives for different reasons. It doesn't necessarily have to be because of their tribal background, ethnicity. It is for different reasons. Okay? So, same thing. That's why I say, even though, you know, Jalas went and met Ruto, okay, for whatever reason, he said it's for developmental, to develop his constituency. I do not see it violating any rule And if it does, please educate me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I will make another video. I will not go live, but I'll make another video. I think I've been here for now, 55 minutes? I wanted to make it an hour, but I think I'm almost 1 hour. 1 hour almost. I've been rambling, ranting, and waffling for 1 hour. So I hope you've enjoyed my talk, but I'll stop there. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary. If you haven't subscribed to my channel on YouTube, please go ahead and search for me. As you have seen there, my name is Kenya Revolutionary, okay? And I'm also on Twitter. Follow me for tweets and lives like this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Comment, like, share with your friends. Send it to Kabando Wakabando, Kuru Okot, and all these politicians so they can know what we think, we as Wananchi, okay? I will talk to you guys later. I will make probably have another live this evening for other stuff, but I will be back. So until next time, peace and blessings, okay? And I'm out.